crowd tonight.
Good thing we have muffins. All right, welcome everyone. Let's declare the meeting open on October 20th, 2025 for the Council of Nairn-and-Hyman. Does anyone have any pecuniary interest tonight? No. And then we have a delegation. All right. With Kira Knapp, KBL Consulting.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
All right, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties here. 1 second. There you are. There we go. All right, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Through your worship, is it okay if I share my screen?
Sure. And is it Kira or Kyra?
Kira. All right. I think I can share now. Thank you so much for having me. I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wonderful. I'm Kira Knapp. I am the CEO of KLB Consulting. We have been hired in partnership with Sequence Consulting to deliver the economic diversification strategy for the region. We've been brought on to co-design really what is supposed to be a practical roadmap to help the community stabilize after recent economic shocks, to help grow local businesses and to position the region for new investment and diversify the economy. All of this is grounded in inclusive engagement with residents, with industry, with councils, and with Indigenous communities in the region. We are well underway with the background research and planning for our first set of engagement, which I'll go into in a little bit. And we've begun already consultations with some key players in the industry and some other service groups in the region. Today, I just very briefly want to give a high level of the project so that you're better aware of the process, have the opportunity to ask questions should you have them. So the purpose of the project, as I mentioned, it's a region-wide actionable diversification strategy. It's really important to us that we deliver strategies that are meant to be actioned, are cognizant of the capacity that municipal governments have, and that aren't going to sit on a shelf. And that really reflects the community identity and supports the long-term resilience of the region. KLB, which is my consultancy, is the project lead, and we're leading the engagement and the analysis and the writing of the strategy. And we've partnered with Sequence, as I mentioned, to do the investment readiness component, marketing recommendations, and sector strategy analysis. All of our plans, we're a values-based consultancy, really are informed by the community, backed by data, with a good understanding of the realities of communities and the realities of what's happening in the broader economic landscape. Our approach is very much equity informed and reconciliation aligned, and we really look at Indigenous engagement as relationship building, not just a checkbox. So that's really the values that we are building the strategy off of. So where are we right now? We've completed, and I'll give you a snapshot of the timeline in the next slide, but we've completed our review of the labor market, the economic base, some demographics, policy, and bylaws that are that impact the recommendations that we'll make. After we complete our engagement, we then go back and do a second round of background review if there's something that comes out of our engagement that hadn't been in our initial round of review. But that first round is completed. We're doing a comparative scan of regions that are sector exemplars that have had similar economic instances to your community, have similar populations, and can help sort of guide recommendations on the diversification of the economy based on what other communities have done, also with that lens of making sure that it meets the requirements and the needs of your own community. We've also looked over past strategies, plans, land use tools, and work that past economic development departments have done, and are now working through working themes. So initial working themes are business retention and expansion and entrepreneurship, skills pathways and workforce development. This includes consultations with the college, with the hospital, with workforce organizations in the region. So we really try to give a really broad understanding of what's in the area. We're looking into how to develop place-based tourism. What are some opportunities in the tourism landscape? And that really does tie also into sort of an entrepreneurial and small business development landscape in a lot of ways as well. Investment readiness, opportunities for youth. So we will also be engaging the high schools to really make sure that the youth are informed, knowing that they are really the future of the community, and that youth retention is a goal of the community, and something that we're seeing in your region, that there is a lot of youth out migration. And then opportunities for partnering or co-delivering economic initiatives within the Indigenous communities in the region. So our engagement, as I mentioned, the consultations have begun with industry, with service groups, and with sector organizations and different levels of government. And our in-person engagement starts next week, which is exciting. This month flew by. So we will be in the community on the 29th. Attending on the 29th will be Bill Elliott from Sequence. And then on the 3rd and 4th of November is the KLB team. And that will be myself, Tristan Vogel, who is our Economic Development and Tourism Officer, and then our Indigenous Relations and Cultural Diplomacy Coordinator, Aisha Smith-Belgaba, will be joining us as well, and she's going to be leading Indigenous engagement with the 3 communities in the region. So this is really a mixed modality of consultation. So there's some public open houses, business one-to-ones, meetings with councils and with various committees, with the First Nations, as I mentioned. We'll be at the Business Excellence Awards, and then some drop-in business meet and greet type. So we really try to get a broad intersection of folks that we can get opinions and feedback from, and we try to get our engagement to be interactive and really informative, and less just us presenting, really getting the meat of what the community sees as economic development and the opportunities and the challenges in the region. We also have 2 surveys that will be circulated after our in-person engagement for those who weren't able to make it in person. And those will stay open for a couple of weeks. And then we synthesize all of that data, and we deliver a what we heard document. So what are we hearing from the community? And that is an addendum to our strategy. We try to make sure that our strategies are quite readable, that we give a really in-depth analysis and appendices, but keep the main text of the document based on the recommendations, the action items, goals, objectives, and how our research and how our engagement has intersected to inform those. And then we also have an implementation plan that delineates sort of any costs associated with the implementation of the work, and then who's sort of the champion of that work to help manage the capacity and ensure that there is capacity to implement the recommendations that we make. So we'll start drafting that. Well, we've already started drafting some of it, but we'll have the draft strategy completed by December. And the implementation framework draft will be completed in December, with a final strategy delivery in January. And then we'll be presenting back our findings to councils, to interested parties, and giving the opportunity to ask questions. And then you're ready to roll with the implementation of the plan for next fiscal year. This is a more in detailed version of the community consultation schedule. And I've really already gone over this, but this is a good example, and we can share this presentation with your clerk if it wants to be circulated, if you need to see this in more detail as well. So that is very much, as I said, sort of a high-level overview of what we'll be doing over the next couple of months. We really look forward to meeting you folks in person and getting a chance to sit down with the community in person and ask questions and learn more. And we think we're well on our way to something that's really going to make a huge impact in the community and your economic development landscape. So thank you so much, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. And I wanted to open the floor up if anybody has any questions on what I presented or the strategy or recommendations.
Okay, any comments or questions for Ms. Knapp? No, over here? No, we're good. I'm excited to see what you come up with, and I'm excited that you're coming to our business meet and greet on the 29th. So yeah.
Me too. My family, my mom grew up in Massey, so I'm pretty excited to come back to the region and visit with family and see everyone.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Thanks.
Anything from you, CEO Ketchba?
Just like council to note that, this strategy and financial plan, is funded, completely grant funded. It's something that the town of Espanola, along with ourselves and the other two municipalities, went in together on to, help, look at diversifying our economic development in the area. After certain businesses have closed and certain political landscapes have changed. So I think this is really a great thing for all four of us, our municipalities, to work together.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, we're excited to see you in a few weeks.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been quite a lengthy process, as it usually is, we discussed it at LaQuash, and then we had to get the grant, and then, before I knew it, they were engaged, the consulting group, and really, if everything is done and ready for January, it's kind of happening pretty quickly now, but it was a slow start. So we have nothing for our public meeting. Any discussions arising from previous council minutes? Oh, yeah. So let's approve regular council meeting, minutes, moved by Councilor McVeigh, seconded by Councilor Richter. Be it resolved that the following council meeting minutes be accepted as presented. A, regular council meeting minutes of September 8th, 2025. All in favor? That's carried. So moved by Councilor Richter, second by Councilor McVeigh, be it resolved that the minutes and report items 7A to I are noted as received. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so that is. So this has to do, oh, okay. Everyone looked at the Baker planning group on behalf of BioVald North. Does anyone have any questions about it? I think the most important thing that this was kind of a corrective thing that we have to pass. And it's because of the sale, a previous sale, and it's holding up the sale of the local business.
So it's just an issue that was missed at the time.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
So everybody's fine with it? I'll read the motion. Moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Richter, whereas an application for validation of title, file number 2025-1 has been submitted by the Baker Planning Group on behalf of BioVel North Incorporated, and whereas a contravention of the Planning Act occurred in 1993 when a parcel was conveyed without the required consent, and subsequent transfers did not retroactively correct this error, and whereas section 57 of the Planning Act provides authority for council to issue a certificate of validation to correct such contraventions. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the application for validation of title, file number 2025-1 submitted by BioVel North Incorporated. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized to issue the certificate of validation in accordance with section 57 of the Planning Act. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so everyone read the CAO's report about an application for an administration fee. Or are we all fine with that? It basically means that we can charge a fee to cover some of our
I
expenses.
couldn't read it, so
Oh,
my laptop wouldn't open it,
um,
but I understood, but I talked
Okay.
to her earlier.
yeah, it's a fee of $1,700 per property. And it just means that our staff is spending a lot of time on that, and that's an appropriate fee. So we can keep, when there's a sale of a property, we can keep whatever the amount is in back taxes. And this is just an additional fee that we can levy and keep. So it's good news for us. And I think, yeah, so everybody's fine with that? Moved by Counselor Richter, second by Counselor McVeigh, whereas council has received information. The CAO's report 2025-29, and be it resolved that council agrees to adopt bylaw number 2025-26. Is that right? They should be two different numbers.
Yeah, this is the report number.
Okay.
That's the.
I just,
Yeah.
nope, being a bylaw to establish an administration fee for costs related to tax sale administration by giving it 3 readings on October 20th, 2025 council meeting. All in favor? That's carried. Do we need to do municipal office hours next? Oh, sorry.
No, that's the wrong one too.
Parks and
Well, we tried.
We
our
did
best.
mix them up.
Chloe, it's okay. So does anyone have any concerns about changing the municipal office holiday hours so that staff would use their vacation days for the December 29th, 30th and 31st? Anybody? I don't have any concerns.
Sorry, there was just an omission in January 2nd. States as well.
Okay, in January.
No.
Did you say that? No. I don't think anybody's coming in. So we're fine with that, no comments? Moved by Counselor Richter, seconded by Counselor McVeigh, whereas council has received for information the CAO report 2025-30. And be it resolved that council approves that the municipal office will be closed throughout the holiday season from Wednesday, December 24th at noon until January 4th. Reopening on Monday, January 5th. Further, that employees would use vacation time for December 29th, 30th, 31st, and January 2nd. All in favor? That's carried. And then we have the municipal report. Moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Richter, be it resolved that council accepts the municipal superintendent's report as presented. All in favor? That's carried. I just wanted to point out that our superintendent noted that they, took 40 tons of cold patch up the Sand Bay Road. That's a lot. Well, it sounds like a lot. I don't know how many tons fit in a truck. I don't wanna find out. I don't wanna know. It seems like-
That's pretty near standard, a couple loads a year. 2 tandem loads a year is what we've used in the past,
Tandem, what is a tandem load?
big truck.
Big truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big truck, so it should be 11 yards.
The gravel truck we could see on the road.
That's still like,
That's a
if
lot,
I
yeah.
made you go out and do 40, you'd be like, no way.
I'm not shoveling. it.
No, that's a lot. Yeah. All right, next we have Parks and Recreation minutes. Oh, so there's a mention of the donated funds to the amount of $750 for the purchase of portable speakers, projector, and a shade pop-up tent. And that donations collected at the Hyman Barbecue and Pancake Breakfast be utilized for equipment at Fire Station 2. Is everyone fine with those issues? Moved by Counselor Richter, seconded by Counselor McVeigh, whereas council has received the Community Parks and Recreation Committee minutes dated September 9th and October 7th of 2025, and be it resolved that council approves the use of donated funds in the amount of $750 for the purchase of a portable speaker projector and a shade pop tent. And further, that council approves the donations collected at the Hyman Barbecue and Pancake Breakfast be utilized for equipment at Fire Station 2. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Richter, be it resolved that council accepts the following minutes as presented. Public Health unapproved minutes, September 18, 2025, and LaCloche Foothill Municipal Association approved meeting minutes, July 8, 2025. All in favor? That's carried. And next is Health Sciences North Foundation requesting a donation. What is your feeling on that?
Have we did that in the past?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't think we had.
Through you, Madam Chair, this is the first time we've been approached by this foundation.
So this is essentially the hospital. I already signed really big checks to other places every month. I don't know that I feel we need to make an additional donation, Counselor McVeigh.
I agree.
I agree.
Counselor Austin? Moved by Counselor Richter, seconded, oh, well. Should I just say that we're doing 0?
Zero.
Or do we just not do a motion?
You can just say 0.
Moved by Counselor Richter, seconded by Counselor McVeigh, whereas council has received a donation request for the Health Sciences North Foundation, and be it resolved that council agrees to donate $0. All in favor? Carried. And you could argue, well. I assumed it was the hospital in Sudbury, but it may be the whole network. But when I read it, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So maybe there was something. Okay. Then
On
we
to
have-
correspondences. From Mr. Corrigan. So I don't know if you want to discuss it in open council.
We could, yeah, like you. So we have a letter from Mr. Corrigan, who's here in the audience. The issue, this is very tricky to speak about without mentioning other people's property, other people's names. So it's a tricky situation. We can talk about it in general terms. I think it's even trickier that we kind of want to find a solution. And that might be, so does anyone have any general comments that we could make?
If I may, I've been up there and I looked and we are in need of ditching on that road. Like it's, there's places where the ditch is higher than the road. And there's a lot of water issues on the road because of that. I see no reason why we could not start some of that ditching.
In the fall.
No, yeah, anytime now, yeah. For part of it and, the rest of it can be dealt with in camera, so.
Okay. So you're saying proceed with ditching, and if we were to talk about culverts, you'd like to talk about that in camera. Counselor McDonald, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I disagree with Mr. Costello.
And Counselor Austin, so is there water standing on the road?
Yes. It lays there for quite a while after a storm. And in the spring, it's much worse from what I understand. If your ditch is higher than the road, it's gonna be.
I think it was.
Sure.
These were taken by Public Works in the spring.
You blew them up, I had one, my phone was kind of small.
Honestly.
If you. Remember, that was the far end of the road. That's the ditch.
Good.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, pictures help.
See, there's basically no ditch, it has, there's birch trees in the ditch.
Yeah. Do you want me to pass
And yeah, I think we'll look at that.
the views to the left?
Don't look at all my other pictures.
Yeah, too late.
Yeah.
Too late. Is it inappropriate to ask Mr. Corrigan?
I don't know whether you
Yeah,
call
there.
it the north side of the road or the west side, but that's west. Yeah.
Mr. Corrigan, do you have comments, but keeping in mind, we can't name names
Oh,
or?
no. Not personal. It's for me, if I drive over there every day. The issue is that I have, is I've brought it to attention for the last 4 years.
It's the very end.
And I do understand
There's the red light
Leda
there.
and Melanie are
You go down
the space of their center, however, they're not the one to make the decision. I did speak with Derek, but he's, oh, no, I'm speaking.
Oh, hang on, yeah, let's
sorry.
avoid naming names.
say names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tricky.
That's okay, I called him a different name for years, so that's why he like me. But anyways, it's fine. We treat, I've built lots of roads, including ice road. You put in a ditch to manage the water. And if you don't manage the water, you're just put money after that, but trying to fix the road. That's exactly what it is. Once you get the ditch established, over, the original design of the road is quite evident in the pictures. Because you can see the ditch, there's a culvert at the end where I'm not sure who put it, whether it was NPO years ago or hydro, I don't know. But there's a culvert that at the end of this ditch, there's a culvert that drains into the river. It's like that for, we moved there in 2002, worked great, but over time it starts to go in. There's been no maintenance done on the ditch. Culvert, so for whatever reason, there was a garage there, and then when the property got sold. Probably establishing a new driveway with no culvert, and the culvert that was there was buried. Or there wasn't one put in, that was in the single picture where the water just bit down south, right there. Has no choice, the water has no choice, it makes it on the road, they can go the road, under the road, takes us to, that's the issue. You can go there in the spring, it's. I'm only 230 pounds, but I can sink it that far, 65 pounds. And after, I believe those pictures were taken after the storm in July. If I remember right, and that's the road is just. Like walking on a cushion. That's all the problem. I have a heavy for my truck. Good work, Tom. I can leave marks in the road. That's. Yeah, the garbage truck will get small plows. Have other trucks, and commercial trucks come in. There's just deteriorated road to. If it's gonna happen, the ditch is not reestablished. And the culvert is not reestablished. The dollars that are gonna be spent in the future, to make a new street, is gonna be insurmountable.
Yeah, roads are millions of dollars. They're just millions. I think we're pretty confident. I think there's a few more details that we can talk about in closed session. And then it's easier to talk about too, when we can clearly talk about properties and. But I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to get a resolution, hopefully before the spring, so that we don't have issues in the spring.
Yeah, and I mentioned in the email that I sent, a letter to council, was it? Need to address it for the, Ross sends in, at least establish a ditch or the culvert. That the water will go to the Basel Eastern Fiscal Sea, which is the ditch, the culvert, and to the secondary culvert. But I guess it's not a secondary, it's primary culvert, it feeds into the river. Right, I appreciate this, at the time that you wanted me to present it. You know, obviously you read it. Wayne, what's up? Talk to me about it, so.
Yeah, when letters are submitted to council, we all have it in a packet, in a, basically. And it almost, yeah. In like an email package where we can read all our material before we come here. It's not an email, but it's. Anyway, thank you.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Good luck.
Yeah.
We won't talk about it.
Yeah, I think we'll just wait and discuss it in closed session so that we can talk about details, So moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, whereas council has received correspondence from Brad Corrigan regarding Dumont Street drainage, ditching and culvert upgrades. And be it resolved that this discussion continue in closed session as it pertains to personal matters about an identifiable individual. All in favor? That's carried.
If there's, any other questions you need answered, you have my number, you know where I live, obviously. Feel free. I'll be available. I'll make myself available.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. So this is about the administrative fee for the tax sales administration. So this is just to make it finally pass. So moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin. Be it resolved that being a bylaw to establish an administration fee for costs related to tax sales administration be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council. And its number shall be 2025-26. All in favor?
Can I just make a statement before that?
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know if other councilors are aware, when I was at the opening of the bids for the tax thing, and I was under the understanding that whatever money we got for that was ours, but it isn't. It goes back to the government over what is owed, so we don't get anything, we just spend money and the government takes it basically. So
Well-
we need a fee to,
We get our back taxes back.
We get the back taxes.
yeah, we get our costs.
Yeah.
Basic.
So the 1,700 is on top of the back
Yes.
taxes.
That's good.
But we actually already, what is it? We already had a motion that came through in the last year. That another municipality, complained basically to the Ontario government that why can't we keep that money that kind of is coming from the municipality. So we've already supported that. Will it change? Probably not, but, yeah. So are there any other questions about how this is working?
No, it's good.
Yeah. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, be it resolved that being a bylaw to establish an administration fee for costs related to tax sales administration be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2025-26. All in favor? That's carried. So then we have the OPP. And this wasn't 100%, oh. Moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that other business items 11A is noted as received. All in favor? That's carried. So the OPP, did it say anything really conclusive? It did say they were just kind of being mindful of fees.
Yeah, they did, through you, Madam Chair, they did say that they had put an 11% cap on the increase for municipalities on 2026, so. Ours didn't increase by anywhere close to that, ours actually
Yeah.
went down, but there was that. We did get a couple discounts on,
And can it also be depending on how many actual calls come to the area?
That's right.
So what we're charged could, in theory, change from year to year.
correct.
Okay. So do we have to do anything for the OPP?
No.
Nothing? Then we're on to other business. Okay, so Counselor Austin, would you like to speak to the parking at or near the ball field?
Okay, I was made aware that we have some issues up there with, similar to what we had last year around town with, toilet paper and feces around the ball field because people were parking their campers overnight around the ball field. Not local people, but other people, I guess, strangers from out of town, and I don't have a solution for it, unfortunately, but other than if we posted it, no overnight camping or whatever, but that's the only thing. I don't know if anybody else has any suggestions.
How many times were people there camping? I just
I
didn't see.
don't go up there every night.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone, but I'm not on Minto Street all the time. Counselor McVeigh, have you?
There was a vehicle there for a couple of days, but I don't believe that was them. I think if we actually look at it. It's probably gonna see every now and then you see a transport park there,
Yeah,
and I don't see them stay overnight, but I don't know how you. If somebody parks their transport there, who are we to go and tell them they gotta move? Even because as long as they don't stay overnight, and if they do happen to do that, which is kind of disgusting as it is, we do have washrooms there, like there's the outhouses there. I don't know how you control people from being normal.
Yeah.
Or how you make them be, well, like, I don't know how else to say it.
I
Polite.
don't know if we. It's all kind of simple, but if we put a sign on the washroom that it's a public washroom,
Yeah,
there's no sign there at all of anything.
Yeah.
actually, CEO Ketchabah, hadn't you already thought to, so is that already kind of being done?
Through you, Madam Chair, we are just waiting for this discussion,
Oh,
but we're
okay.
ready to move forward with a sign on the outhouse that just so it's identifiable. And we can move forward with no overnight parking if that's what council wants us to do.
I think signs on the washroom are great. How does everyone feel about the overnight parking? I don't know that it's necessary if this just seems to be.
I thought if we worded it a little differently, no overnight camping. Rather than a transport that's, his hours are up, they're on restricted hours and they want a place to pull off, they're not on the highway.
I would almost think though, that this camper probably doesn't use it they've got their own facilities, or they can be, you know what I mean, like,
You don't-
the truck driver doesn't have his own facilities.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how you stop it. I did see there was a vehicle there for a couple of days, this summer. But other than that, it's mainly transport you see there for. You know, I take the dog there every night and.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see the odd transport there for, but I don't know if they're there. Are they there in the morning? I don't know.
Has there been an issue with garbage at the ball field?
Through Madam Chair, no, it's not something we've been having issues with, is garbage, just. Feces where they shouldn't be.
And was that a repeated, was it one incident or was it a few?
It was just a couple incidents within a contained amount of time.
Oh,
I think the sign on the washroom would be a big help
Yep.
for people to know it's not just a building sitting there and. We know what it is, but
Yeah,
others don't.
yeah, you know, it's not someone local, cause they
Yeah.
would know it's an outhouse,
You would think so, yeah.
right?
Or maybe even have a sign in the parking lot where they park and say, you please use, our,
Well, if you put it right on the building and then
yeah,
big
but-
enough, you can read
yeah, but
it.
that building's way down there.
Not
well,
that
it's
far.
only,
Oh.
whatever, 50 yards,
Oh, yeah.
30 yards,
It's not very
50
far.
yards.
No, but they see the
30.
building, but they don't know what it's for.
Well,
Yeah, but that's why I put the sign on it.
The sign was 6-inch lettering on it that says washhouse.
Washroom.
Yeah.
You would have to have good eyes.
Outhouse, because there's no
You're
water.
driving
in it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing is that we're fine with a sign on the washroom. But I'm not hearing a consensus about no camping. I mean, if we do put the sign up, then it means our staff can say, you need to move on. We have a sign, you know, we have a restriction for no camping, so it just. Depends
Basically,
on,
nobody's gonna see them if they stay overnight and leave a mess. They're gone in the morning.
Yep, it's kind of, we're buying signs to put signs up. For over, as far as over, I agree, the outhouse, the washroom is a great sign, but the overnight camping or whatever.
You're not gonna change, if people don't care, the sign ain't gonna make
And
any
you are not
difference.
gonna, you or me stopping is not gonna be, is a wise decision. I didn't think it's wise to have our staff stop.
no, not at that point. It's just gonna be an argument. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas council has received the notice of motion from Counselor Austin to discuss parking at or near the ball field, and be it resolved that council directs that a sign be placed on the outhouse to identify it for that use. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and next we have the main flagpole. Counselor Austin, do you want to
Yes,
speak
so-
to that?
If you notice, our flagpole is, kind of, well, the tree's grown into the flagpole.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful tree out there, and I really don't wanna see the tree trimmed. I would rather we take the time and put the flagpole in a more open place so that it can work, cause right now the flag is in the trees. And it's.
Is there lots of tree to trim, or is it like a branch, or is
Oh,
it?
no, there's lots of tree to trim. It's that maple tree out there.
Yeah, I know which one, I
It's a
just,
beautiful tree and if you trim it up so the flag works, then next year you'll be trimming it again and it's gonna end up looking like heck. I know it's a project to move a flagpole, but I don't think it's that big a project and we can't put it in a good open area.
It sounds like something way overdue.
When it was put in there, that tree wasn't there, I don't think. Then they planted it and now it grew.
I like the trees there.
Yeah, I do too, that's
is this something, and don't take this the wrong way, cause I'm just asking a question. Is this a operations, like something CEO and their, and the
That's how I'm,
Like, we're not here to do we're here to do policies and procedures, but maintenance on or give direction on staff to do stuff, like,
Well, the new
Should
should
be-
be, well, I think that.
Do we have to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know, I
don't
think
know.
we're talking about trimming a tree, and I don't think that, it does seem like micromanaging. I think if staff came to us and said, I don't know about this, maybe we shouldn't be cutting, this looks awkward, then we have an issue, but I think if the issue is
Is it,
staff using good judgment about trimming a tree or not, is, I think we have to trust them to make reasonable decisions. And moving a flagpole is not fun.
It's not that big a project, but it can be done where it's done.
No, I'm sure it can be, you're right, but it could be,
like, is it just moving out like a foot? Like, I never really.
No,
Like, you're gonna move it somewhere else?
well, if you're gonna move it, relocate it to a good spot.
Or cut the tree.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. The issue isn't gonna go away if the tree is there. So you have to move the flagpole. Is the only solution I can see to not cutting up the tree, and then once you cut the tree, it's too late. Like, once you trim it up, it's a mess, so
yeah,
I'm just suggesting we move the flagpole to a better location. They wanna put it over next to the fire hydrant. It's in the wide open and far enough away from the fire hydrant, it's not a hindrance, in between the two driveways.
What if we just, I see it.
I'm of the opinion that you know, we're
Staff to
we're
make a
ta-
choice.
Yeah, I think if staff proceeds and they feel like it may be unattractive or not in the town's best interest, but we're talking about trimming a tree. I think they have to. We do not want to discuss it every time they think about trimming a tree on the front yard. I think we have to allow them to move forward and bring it to us if there's an issue. And I like where the flagpole is. I don't know where else we
It's
would,
probably more work. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked. It's probably more work to move the flagpole than it is to cut the tree.
well,
If
we
the tree
could,
was memorial, is it for somebody? Is it?
The tree is 40 feet high,
Oh,
50 feet high, and it's, I don't know, 20 feet diameter.
Counselor McDonald,
That tree was planted by a resident on there, but he passed away now, but he planted the tree. And, I wouldn't like to see it cut down.
oh, I don't think anyone's talking about cutting
Thought
it
about
down.
trimming it.
Well, you trim it, you're gonna damage it somehow.
You're gonna trim it this year, and you're gonna trim it next year and the year after. Trim your houses around, or your trees around home, and what do they look like now?
I just,
Go look,
I just did that beautiful red maple in my yard.
Just up from
Oh.
your place, Hydro went and trimmed there, and they look like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cause if you're gonna trim it, you wanna trim it enough that it's gonna clear the flag. And if
think
next
this
year or
is
the year after, you're gonna have to trim it
public
again.
works issue.
I
not a
just think
council
the
issue.
simplest solution, or the best solution, is to move the flagpole and get it in a good location.
I don't care, this sounds horrible, I don't care either way.
You're welcome to go up there and look at it right now,
No,
it's right there.
I was just trying to decide where you move the pole to. I know what the tree looks like, I just,
It looks like heck now, there's no leaves on it, but
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something we leave with our public works. That's what I think. And if Public Works and our town supervisor and you have an issue with it, then bring it back to council. If you think it's gonna be a hideous choice.
Cause the other side of that is we want our flags to stay nice. Nothing
Yeah.
irritates me more than seeing a flag ripped apart.
Tattered.
It's, yeah, tattered
Or that
flag.
kid flag, yeah.
Cause you know, if we're gonna have a flag, it should.
Well, that's what happens right
Yeah.
now because it's into the trees. And it won't go away with the flagpole in the same location.
Okay, why don't we take a break for a minute? We go look at it for 5 minutes. Have a muffin. So once again, let's open for business, and we were discussing the issue of the flagpole and the tree. Actually, when you go look at the tree, it has so many branches because it was chopped
Yeah.
in the middle. For myself, I do not see a problem with removing one or two. There's, I think, two large branches that are very close together, and it's obviously been cut before. I think it'll be fine. There's so many branches coming up from that base. It may look a little lopsided for a bit, but I don't think it would interfere with the flagpole.
But I'm still the same, I don't care, whatever they wanna do, if you want Public Works to take care of it, you guys wanna do it, I truly,
Yeah, I think that would be
Switzerland.
actually my number
Switzerland.
one thing is
Yeah.
just to allow Public Works to deal with it.
Okay, so do you want that to be a motion?
Sure.
I'd like to recommend that we ask Public Works to find a new location for the pole. And leave it up to them where they put it, but I believe it has to be moved, otherwise we're destroying the ecosystem out there. in the
Okay,
community.
well, let's.
Keep cutting the branches off, was one of them die, yeah, I had a tree like that, and I kept cutting it, finally it died.
Oh, there's multiple branches. Like how many do you think there were? 10 or?
Why don't we say, get Public Works to take a look at it and deal with it? One way or the other, they're either gonna move it's not our business, but we've noticed that something needs to be addressed and they need to figure it out.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
that Public Works. We'll look at the flagpole and tree situation. And come back to us only if they feel that it's a high level problem.
the report back to council, if, sorry, that was the word.
I said high level problem, but I'm not anticipating anything, or a very large issue.
So I have be it resolved that council directs that Public Works look at the issue with the flagpole being too close to the maple tree and report back to council if they identify a large issue. Is that how you?
And then they can deal with the issue.
Further.
So I'm assuming they're not going to have to come back to council. That's okay.
So we either move the flagpole or turn the tree. Okay.
Counselor Austin, do you want to move this?
Yes.
So moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald. Whereas council has received the notice of motion from Counselor Austin to discuss the flagpole. And be it resolved that council directs that Public Works look at the issue with the flagpole being too close to the maple tree. And report back to council if they identify a large issue, and further that they can deal with the issue. All in favor? That's carried. And then, we have the issue of the benches. This is something we've discussed off and on. And I just didn't wanna leave it hanging because we had talked about it. But we have the metal frames for the benches from the ball field. They're missing the wood that would be on the seat and on the back.
Think so.
Yeah, that's what I think. So it's missing that wood, it's rotted away. But I just wanted to bring it to council in case we wanted. At one point, we talked about having them in Sand Bay area, if there were some other areas.
Sorry, I worship. I thought we discussed and we were gonna pull them and put them, have them fixed and have them put one at the cemetery and one side. I thought we already like,
I didn't
I
think
thought we already did this.
I thought we did too.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why we're like, not being, this is gonna sound rude, but I don't mean it. Like, I don't know why we're bringing this back up, cause I thought we did it.
CEO Ketchupah, do you remember that?
I have
didn't-
to look back in the minutes. We did pass a budget item to purchase a
The
bench
bench
for
for
the
them.
cemetery. So that would free these up to go somewhere else.
We have more than one cemetery.
Yeah.
We could add extra, this was just, we knew we had the bench frames, and I thought if we had another place. We know we have benches already at the new park at the ball field. It was just if we wanted to have them anywhere else.
That's where I got the idea from for free, was using the ones, cause, the Public Works Department did a good job of the ones at the dog park. So that's where I came up, that's where I came up with the idea for, no, I stole it from whoever did it. And just using those ones, cause they were cheap, right? Or it was a less expensive idea, but I thought, yeah. So I thought that's what we were doing with them already. That's what I was under the, unless I'm wrong, I was under the understanding that we were already doing that.
One was gonna go to the cemetery and there was one up in Sand Bay, but we didn't know whether it was on public property or private property.
Well, we had suggested near the fire hall.
Yeah, that's where,
That's where I left off.
I thought that's where they were going.
Maybe, I'm thinking there's been lots of discussion about benches, but I didn't think there was any decision. So we could just. We can either have CEO Ketchupah look back in the minutes and see what was decided, or we can just restate.
Let's just do it, get rid of these, so we don't have to talk about them again.
Well, we don't even have to use them. Really
Well, if we've got them out, what's, what, a couple $100 for,
would.
Where are these benches? Like, I've never seen them. I can't place them.
They were extra seats, like probably behind, like this, on the outside of the fence, like,
No,
no?
they were in the,
Clear
have you been down to the dog park? There's one in the dog park, and there's two in the dog park. And then there was still,
There's two more.
let's say 20 feet of bench for the baseball, and like for the teams to sit in the baseball section.
Oh, that kind of.
And then there was another, there's probably 20 feet, then there was a space with maybe a 6-foot one or a 5-foot one, like an odd shaped one. So my recommendation was to pull the two 5-foot ones out, paint them up like they did for the dog park. Put new boards on, and more or less for the cost of boards and some paint, which we already have,
Yeah,
they're good to go. And Public Works did a great job sticking them in the ground so nobody could steal them at the dog park. So if they do the same at the fire hall in Hyman, and they do the same at the cemetery, nobody can move them because they did a great job of sealing them, they're sticking them to the ground.
Okay, but at the cemetery right now, we have a very expensive bench coming.
It's coming, yeah. So, but we still, like you said, we do have two more cemeteries.
Yeah.
If you wanted us to put the refurbished benches.
I don't know that anyone is
I
going,
thought we weren't gonna buy these big expensive benches.
there was one already in the budget for the cemetery here.
I remember that one there, it was like $1,500.
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember that one,
yeah, that was.
but
in
I
the
also
budget.
remember us discussing those there and just to make it. And I thought they were done, that's it, like say no. Let's fix it, if we've already taken those though, let's clean them up and get them done and get them out.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Sure.
talk about it anymore.
Yeah, sure. Where do we wanna do it? Cause I don't think it makes sense to put them by the cemetery if we have a fancy one coming in the cemetery. That's,
But if you put one at the fire hall in Hyman,
yeah, sure.
And I could suggest the other one would be somewhere near the mailboxes.
Wow.
Cause lots of people walk to the mailboxes. They're not gonna go to the old Catholic cemetery. You don't see anybody.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, you're right.
It's somewhere
Sure.
around the mailboxes. People walk there in the summertime.
Not by the big parcel box, cause that's where I back in to turn around.
Yeah,
Done.
So would that be by the, big board, the community board?
That'd be a good spot
sure,
for it.
right near there, but
Nobody's turning there,
No.
as
right?
long as it's not in the way of snow plowing or clearing.
At the discretion of Public Works.
Yeah, there's another.
There you go.
So do we only have two? Oh, well, there we go. Perfect. And yeah, you're right. I knew we had talked about different things at different times. I didn't think we had moved forward, but that's that.
Yeah, over the years, when I've been on council, we had benches all over town. I never ever saw anybody sit there.
That's
You know,
your
they go-
job, Counselor McDonald.
They go for a walk, you know, you don't know where to sit.
It'll be nice if we have it by the mailbox. People might sit and,
Oh, it's true, and it's after we discussed that, I looked at. When I go to Esmond, my house there, Esmond's got a ton of them. You look, but you never see anybody sitting on them, but there's a bunch of them. And
It's
they're
like going
expensive.
to a playground,
Yeah.
Yeah.
great big playgrounds with no kids.
Yeah,
I see lots of kids on playgrounds. Gotta go at the right times.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
bring
guess so.
kids.
they're not up at 10 to 7
During
driving,
school hours, I guess.
at 10 to 7 driving to Jeremy's, they're not there.
No,
No, but it's,
Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas council has received the notice of motion from Mayor Maisy to discuss community benches. And be it resolved that council directs that the two refurbished benches be placed at the Hyman Fire Hall and near the mailboxes. All in favor? That's carried.
and if I can just refresh Mr. McDonald's memory, the town didn't put the park benches before.
Yes, it was the fire.
Firemen's Association did that.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting.
In fact, you were involved in doing this.
Yeah, I was in the fire department.
He was the treasurer. that signed the check.
he wrote the checks.
No, I wasn't. They wouldn't trust me for that.
I think we're just waiting on a motion.
Fire department, those days, boy, they did a lot for this town. boy.
It's in
Yeah,
Trevor's,
it does.
probably.
It's very hard nowadays. Recreation has a hard time getting people,
We'll need-
get a firemen's association going and working at things.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. People don't want to volunteer anymore.
Or they
I know a counselor that shows up.
Or the ones that, the ones that volunteer a ton, can't find any more time. You know.
You know, we did that lunch. We were here 2 afternoons and it is very nice to do, just like I'm sure you like your euchre nights. It's a nice thing to do. Not everybody has the time, but it is a pleasant way to,
It takes up a lot of your time, then.
So,
Not just when you're open here for the thing, you got so many hours beforehand.
yeah, I think you can throw an event together pretty
Yeah.
quickly. But to do a good event is like quadruple that amount of time. Anyway, moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Richter, be it resolved that council go into an in-camera session at 7:15 PM. For personal matters about an identifiable individual, all in favor. Counselor Austin? Yep, that's carried. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin. Be it resolved that council return to open council at 7:25 PM. And report on the discussions had, personal matters about an identifiable individual, all in favor. That's carried. Moved by Counselor Richter, seconded by Counselor McVeigh. Be it resolved that council directs that Public Works begin ditching on Dumont Road. All in favor? That's carried.
So, question, is that Dumont Street or Dumont Road?
It's written as both ways. I looked it up today,
No,
actually.
it's technically, we're,
You should have been a lawyer, Counselor.
No.
Hoffman. It's not too late.
well, ask your husband, you could answer the question. for
You
us.
don't ask those questions. That's what I've. Unless you want to listen to the 15-minute lecture. Moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the township of Narren-Hyman be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2025-27. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, be it resolved that the meeting of October 20th, 2025 do now adjourn at 7:27 PM. To meet again on the 10th day of November 2025, or at the call of the mayor. All in favor? It's carried. Excellent.